What Eli mentioned, that the universal design as a concept doesn't only deal with the physical building, but also services, in a sense that a vending product. It has to be based on the 7 principles of universal design. It has to be reversible, has to be easily understood, it has to be error guaranteed. So all of these concepts and principles come into accessibility. So it's more complex and deals with many sectors in any service, from the building to the service provider, for the access to the website, the person that you meet at the front desk, all of them. So we need to have better, more holistic concept of accessibility than just, the physical building.
I'd like to add something to what Dr. Hussein just said. I'm conducting a study right now, and in my study, it's about safety and accessibility and the aspects thereof. We didn't want to specifically ask people, are you disabled, or do you consider yourself somebody with disability? So we asked questions in terms of what we call activities of daily living. So we asked people, how much difficulty do you have going down the shop, walking on the street? How do you consider that you have difficulty seeing something that somebody else can see? Or do you feel that sometimes you're in an environment and people can hear things that you cannot hear? And you'd be surprised. I mean, so far the survey has been answered by around 300 or 350 people. The last question in that survey was, do you consider yourself to be somebody with disability? And so far, there's only 2% who consider themselves to be people with disabilities. But if you look at the answers, regularly, on almost all the criteria, you've got between 10 and 15% of people who say, I have some difficulty, and you have between 5 and 8% of people who say, I have a lot of difficulty. And these are people who say they are not people with disabilities. That brings home the point that you're not doing this just because there's a guy in a wheelchair who's threatening to sue you when the bylaws come out, or to complain to the CDA even without the bylaws just now, because people also need to know that they are liable. People have an avenue to complain if things are not accessible. This is actually about everybody, and when you do that, customers will come in more often, and people will be more advocates of your brand if you do that, because they feel that you pay attention to them, and they'll tell their friends. Word of mouth is everything, because people trust. I trust what Sarah tells me more than I trust the advertisement I see on TV, because I know you paid $1 million for it. Sarah won't say it with alternative motives. So